Hello everyone, and welcome to this video about my tips and tricks on where to find the ideal locations based on scenery for your favorite player homes in Skyrim. Because this will be a video about the scenery, this will be more geared towards those of you who want to find a location where the surrounding environment looks nice. Probably those of you who want to be in a relatively remote location in the Skyrim world. Whether you just made your own player home mod and are a bit unsure as to where to place it, with the use of doors in different cells, or maybe you are a player who's overwhelmed with the enormous amount of player home mods for Skyrim on the Nexus and wants to start looking for the general place on the map where you probably want your Dragonborn to live in. I've personally hunted for that perfect player home in Skyrim with mods from the Nexus, and I've used a lot of time and energy since I started the game to try and find a place that was functional but also had good scenery. So I hope this video can help save you quite a bit of time in that regard. Alright, let's get started. Skyrim's been around for a while now, so this may not be new to many of you, but there is a popular mod on the Nexus that I highly recommend downloading and installing into your game. This will be a good reference for you to use, and it is called a quality world map. And I'm showing the special edition version of this mod, but I've checked and found that it's available for old Skyrim as well, so it should work for both games. You probably guessed that this is a map mod. It accurately improves the world map quality in regards to things like terrain, landscape features. So this will be good to use for finding general areas in Skyrim that's to your liking. Now, if your Dragonborn is less of a city person and wants to live in a relatively remote area somewhere in the wilderness, or just want to be left alone, which is why I assume you are watching this video, you probably have a particular kind of terrain or environment that you want to see when you step out of the door from your player home. This will obviously be different for people with different preferences, so I'll tell you the player home I ended up with as an example. I wanted a forest environment, so I started with Falkreath, or somewhere in Falkreath Hold. I honestly didn't like the fact it would be in the main forest, which felt a little too lush for me, because I wanted to have some sunlight. Now, there are two things you should be aware of. One, this is going to sound really stupid and obvious, but you have to explore Skyrim, or Solstheim if you want to live in Solstheim. The world map is good for finding the general places, but actually going to those places on foot will give you a lot more detail. There are also some unmarked locations in Skyrim, like say animal dens, that feel unique to the area but don't show up as a map marker. So it's a good practice to try and find that perfect location by physically going to those places. Now, secondly, about those perfect locations, I will say that many, if not most of those locations are already taken. By that I mean there is probably a structure or building in those locations, and sometimes it's actually just a matter of going into a rundown fort and taking it as your own. A lot of those buildings or relatively remote locations are placed in a pretty meaningful way, so it's definitely worth going to those marked locations to see if they suit your needs. If it turns out there is an existing building in the vanilla game that suits your needs and has that scenery you want, you can potentially just make an improvised player home right then and there on your own. Even if you can't, it will be much easier to find mods on the Nexus that can alter those places into usable player homes, and it will save you a lot of time instead of trying to find a mod that makes an entirely new home. Now, taking that into what happened to me, I cannot tell you how many times I've downloaded, installed player home mods on the Nexus, played the game, quit the game after finding that those player homes just weren't for me, plugging more mods in, getting disappointed again, and repeating. This went on for at least a few months straight. And this is the player home that I've ended up using as my primary home. Most of you will already know where this is. This is Anis's cabin near Riverwood, and quite close to the starting point of the main storyline, so you can probably imagine how I felt when I came here, and probably for the first time other than the start of the game, I took a good look at the scenery. It pretty much has everything I wanted. It has a moderately lush forest, even a river, and you can see High Hrothgar in the distance. You can also get some wide open view of the sky, and it's not particularly grand, which I didn't want, so this worked out quite perfectly for me. Now, I did install a mod that modified Anis's cabin into a more complete player home, but this is the best player home that I found that matched all my criteria. And it's an existing cabin in the game, so it was a weird experience for me as a player. So to sum up, you should explore Skyrim using the quality world map mod to find the best general locations, and visit the existing locations of settlements to see if you can just take them for yourself, or otherwise make it easier for you to find the best mod to alter those locations. I hope this video has been some help to you, and have fun playing Skyrim.